This is my Mercedes 190e, which I've owned for over a year now. And when this one owner car popped up on Facebook Marketplace, I couldn't say no. The 190e became extremely popular in the 1980s by the German Touring Car Championship, also known as the DTM. The 190 and the E30 BMW M3 fought for outright wins for the whole decade. This incredibly close competitive racing ranks amongst the best touring car racing the world has ever seen. The 190 was also raced around the Nürburgring across the 1980s by some of the most prestigious names in motorsport. James Hunt, Niki Lauda, Sterling Moss, and even Ayrton Senna, solidifying its racing pedigree and notoriety. Now, we bought his car cheap as it had a timing chain issue, shortly realising that you cannot change the timing chain on these engines without thousands and thousands of pounds worth of specialist Mercedes tools, so we had to think of something different. The M111. Largely known as one of the best engines Mercedes have ever made, many variants have come out, but there's one that stands out. The 2.3 strapped with an Eaton supercharger. This is a swap that kept popping up on the forums, on the Google searches, so before I know it, I was at Copar and I was driving home in a written off SLK 230. With never having any engine swaps under my belt, I had a huge task ahead, and truly, I massively underestimated how big of a task it was going to be. Not only was we fitting a new engine, we also had to manual swap it as well. With the help of Rusty Autos, we stepped on the big task ahead of us, and the first issue we came across? Parts. Mercedes don't give out any part numbers, and they won't even quote you on a part itself without the registration of a vehicle. When you're trying to find parts of a rare car and nobody has one for sale and there's no pictures on Google, we couldn't get parts for months, and the build was slowly starting to slow down, and slow down. After almost a year and a half of stress and going back and forth, we completed the manual swap and we got the engine in the car. The final task? To get it started, to sort the wiring. Although we took the whole wiring loom, we just couldn't get it to start. We couldn't get it to crank. We couldn't even get it to recognize the key. Mercedes wiring is an absolute nightmare. And to be honest, we was left at a huge brick wall.
So yes, it's been a sad story for this 190e. It's not gone exactly to plan. Things have gone to plan, but it's definitely been a long process, and I didn't expect it to be this long. But the most important thing is we've learned a lot of things. As Thomas Edison said, I haven't failed on making 100 light bulbs. I've just found 100 ways on not to make a light bulb. And I found one way how not to do an engine swap. Well, sometimes in life you get handed a gift. We were struggling with this wiring, we plugged in, we didn't know what the hell was going on. We had made a massive mistake by just taking the whole loom out of the car and not knowing what was what. I was in a situation where I thought someone was going to do a wiring loom, turns out they wasn't gonna, so now I'm left with a huge bag of wiring. You've been watching the 190 builds, you have been seeing a name that kept popping up, and this person was one of the only people who really went out of their way to help. Now, this person did many engine swaps, and this person was absolutely amazing and crucial to actually even getting to this part of getting it running. He helped me with the clutch, all the part numbers, everything. And this person's come through again. He's come all the way from Croatia. William, please, it's like some Stars of Eyes entrance. If you remember the name that kept popping up in all the videos, William Pittner said this, William Pittner's helped me, William Pittner sent the part number. He couldn't stand this car. He couldn't stand this car not running, so he literally flew from Croatia. He's never even been on a plane in his life, and he's come all the way to get this 190 running.
What can I say?
What an absolute legend. Now, how many engine swaps have you done on this?
My own hands, 4.
Now, you were saying something in the car on the way here, that one of the main reasons you did it was because everyone in the 190e page... Go on, tell her.
Yeah. So, everyone kept saying, you cannot do it on original ECM, so original ECU. You cannot... It just simply won't work. You cannot. There is no way. Just go standalone and... That's it.
And this is what I ran into the 190 page as well. You'd ask a question about the original wiring, and every single person would just say, just go standalone, just go standalone. And William was the first person actually seen the comments who you was fighting back against these guys, and you've done it multiple times.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I have nothing against standalone. It is absolutely beautiful to be able to tune your car, but when you want just a regular daily car, just a simple car, you don't need standalone. I found a way to make it work.
So I don't think Will understands the how much wiring loom I have. And it's pretty much, I don't know how to get in here. Is the other side open?
No.
Oh, hang on, we'll do one of these. I was actually more scared about cutting something that we needed, so I'd say 80% of every single wire in the entire car is there. The main things that we need, see if I can remember this. Obviously, well, the ECU, K40 relay, yeah? Immobilizer box,
Yes.
key and ignition.
Yes.
Right, and so out of all this here, right, what percent of this are we going to need?
Maybe 15.
15? Oh, that's a bit more than I thought. Okay, I thought he was going to say like 5%.
Yeah, I went to the higher number. So we have to untangle everything and sort what wires we do need and what wires we don't need. All the wires from the ECU and stuff we need to clean up.
So we started doing exactly that. William told me which were the main looms that we needed, and I went with a razor blade and just started getting off all of the weathering, all the cable ties and all the tape.
The main thing are ECU connectors.
Yeah.
So wherever those go, we have to go.
Right.
Also, we have here OBD port. So not needed, but sometimes you wanna have it. So K40 relay box.
And does that control the supercharger and everything like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So some cars, newer cars, have different K40 box, but it is usually the thing that controls the supercharger.
Right.
And the starter and the fuel pump and stuff. Just looking to get the stuff out of the main loom. We can see if they are, for the first time, if they are really needed or not. I know most of the wires we will not need, but we will do the job from the start to the end. Immobilization box, we need that. We need this ring from the ignition switch.
So we don't actually need the ignition barrel itself?
No.
So the grounds here that we can, so we chop them. And can we chop this ground as well here?
We have to watch out for the brown wires because they are not all grounds.
Right.
Yeah, mostly they are, but some go to the O2 sensor, some go to the other parts, but
I'm not going to go into too much depth on the wirings. I know 99% of people here are just going to be interested in the build and not actually wanting to do this themselves. But we're just following William's lead. William's trying to strip all the ECU wires, and I'm just there to help strip, cut things that he needs to cut, and basically just be an extra pair of hands.
And this is pretty much, that we might need a little bit more, but this is pretty much everything that we need.
OBD port. These wires usually go to the modules and stuff that we will not have.
Yeah.
And we will need only ground power and one wire that is K-line. So the line that computer talks to the ECU. Just 3 wires.
3 wires. Ground, power, and the signals to the ECU.
Data line, yes.
Yeah. What's it called? The K-line.
K-line.
Right.
Yeah. Green, yellow wire on here goes to the connector on the ECU. That wire is our RPM wire for the cluster, to show RPM.
Yeah, so we're not going to be needing the Mercedes SLK dash. We're going to be using the 190 dash, and it's going to be simple as chopping that RPM wire off the SLK and then splicing it into the signal, well, what was the signal wire to the dash on the 190, and that's going to show our RPMs.
Yes.
And our speedo is going to be ran off the gearbox, which is already in the car. It's mechanical.
Is there anything else that we need to do dash related? Is there anything in terms of coolant temperature sensors? I think we did swap the coolant temperature sensor over. So I think we're running, I've already got the 190 coolant temperature sensor. We took it out of the 190 and put it into the SLK engine. So that should work.
Yes, that should work.
Fuel level sensor, is that just a case of just, again, cutting into the...
We don't even touch it. So
Well,
it is already
oh yeah, it's
connected,
already in the 190. Yeah.
Oil pressure
Yeah.
sensor from the old engine.
Yeah.
That is one wire, and oil level.
Okay.
Also, oil level, we have a sensor on the engine, onto the sump. So we just need to splice the wire into that sensor, and it will work.
Now, if it was me, I'd just leave all the 190 ECU and all the old 190 wiring, and I'd just find a new place to put the M11 wire in. But William's very picky about this. He wants everything to go in the stock position. So we're removing all the 190 wires, and we're putting the new ECU where the original ECU would be. So this is where everything's going to sit, the ECU and the K40 relay and everything.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's nice and tucked out the way, and you can't see it. And
Yeah.
clean.
That's the idea. I'm taking out the immobilizer that was in the 190.
Yeah, so it's aftermarket one, right?
Yeah. So it will not work anyway, so we're just gonna remove it.
Is it difficult?
I'm just gonna say whoever installed this did a really good job soldering. But wire management, isolation.
So no was the answer.
Look. So
Wait, that's standard. That's what it was like.
yeah, no tape, no nothing.
Oh my god.
Just like this, a few connections.
Is it easy to take out? Because I've had aftermarket alarms in the past that have been a nightmare to get out. Was this one okay? Or?
This is okay.
Yeah.
It was made pretty simple.
Right.
Just spliced in wires and a few cut ones, but we connect them back together and that's it.
And she's ready to start.
Almost.
Okay, so out of all that loom that we took from over that side of the car, like all the, what was it? It's like the battery loom, and there's a load of fuses and a load of relays and things which we scrapped off. Was it? These are the wires that we need from that loom. So we've got the main positive cable which goes to the junction box. So that's that. We've got the fuel pump wires. Are they ground and fuel pump positive? Or?
Yes.
Yeah. This is the start signal wire. And well, that's it, isn't it? So those five wires really. So
green water temp.
Water temperature. So we're going to run those back over to that side of the car, and these are going to go to the battery. We're not far off really, and everything else is gone other than the headlight wiring loom from that side of the car as well. That's still over there. So that big massive loom, which was a pain stripping down, so it was like proper thick plastic. This is what we've kept, and we're just going to run it back under the car over to that side of the battery.
This will go inside the car, so immobilization stuff.
Yeah.
We just need to make this hole bigger.
Right. Okay.
To fit over the ignition.
The ignition, 190 ignition. Right. So this is how it's sitting at the minute. These are pretty much all the wires. So all these wires, what are all these wires? Is that we've not touched yet?
We'll see.
What we need.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So I know it looks like an absolute mess right now, but we've basically got all the grounds here going to the jumper, and then we've got a jump lead going to the 190 negative, so that should be ground and everything. Then we've got the positive going to all the SLK stuff here, and then jumper going over to the positive on the battery. So that should be everything, because we just want to turn the key and make sure it's cranking. It's not going to run because the fuel pump's not plugged in. And I need to find a MAF sensor, because somehow I've lost the MAF sensor. So even if we did have fuel, it would run like shit anyway. But the main thing is just to hear it crank, because I've never even heard it crank. Well, obviously when it was in the SLK. But that's what we want to do now. We want to just hear it crank. Yeah? Okay, we're going to hear it crank. Well, we want to hear it crank. So to turn this on, we just... That sounds promising. That sounds a lot better than it did the first time we tried to give it power. So I'll let you turn the, well, should we just turn it on now?
That's basically the kill switch, okay? Oh, is everything away from the fan?
Yeah.
Right. Are both keys in here?
Yeah.
They are, yeah? So we're using the 190 key to turn the ignition and the SLK key for the antenna. I've got nothing on the dash.
Okay.
Should I go for it?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Okay.
Unless it could just be the fact that I don't think this jumper cable's getting enough power to go over there. Back to the drawing board. What do you think it is?
Huh?
What do you think it is?
We don't have power.
Okay, so we put the jumper straight to the just straight to the positive negative for the 190 because just to make sure it's not. I'm guessing in that circuit we're not getting power. So right, I've got lights here. Everything's working.
I'll try and jump it
Okay.
over this.
Woo!
Okay.
So that's good. So it's a power issue between what we just did.
Now try with the key.
Right.
Just to check if this wire works.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah! So it's something. It's either through the jumpers, it's just not getting power.
Yeah.
So unless we actually try to put the wiring over there, should we try to put the wiring, hold that straight on there now?
I would like to use those cables
Yeah.
to connect the ECU to this.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So for some reason the fuel pump is working
Yeah.
when it shouldn't be, because we've cut the fuel pump wires.
We have
But
cut
the fuel pump is,
pump.
we can hear it whining. I mean, negative is why the fuck is it turning on? Positive, it might start. Well, we had brake cleaner anyway, so
Yeah.
we were gonna.
Okay.
Right, I got lights.
Try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the fuel pump whine this time, did you?
No. Try again. Stop.
Right, we're going to try and crank it and spray some brake cleaner in there because the fuel pump is deciding to work and not work, which is weird. Yeah.
Okay. Nope. We are missing something.
Right.
So either the power to ECU or a ground somewhere or something.
Right.
So when we turn it over, it does not fire even once, and that tells me that probably there is no spark.
Right.
And no spark usually means the ECU is not
Sending
working.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I will check wires again, and we'll see.
Yeah. But I think we've done pretty good today. I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
To have it cranking, I think that's good. Considering we said it was just going to be a chill day, and we just thought we was, you know, we've done all right.
We just wanted to see what we are
Yeah,
working with, and yeah.
Yeah, and it's cranking, which is amazing. So yeah, I think we end the video here because it's nice to have a clear head in it.
Yeah.
And it'll be running tomorrow.
Yep.
And hopefully GSF have got a math sensor in, and then it might be proper running tomorrow. But yeah, so we're gonna be back tomorrow, and we're gonna have this starting. So thanks for watching. Love you all, and we'll see you in the next one.